Conspiracy theories have been part of human culture for centuries, often arising in times of social unrest, political tension, or rapid change. While many conspiracy theories remain speculative, some have proven to be true over time, demonstrating that skepticism and investigation can occasionally reveal hidden truths. Here is an exploration of several notable conspiracy theories that were later confirmed to be true. These revelations challenge the assumption that all conspiracies are merely paranoid fantasies, offering a glimpse into the complexities of history, politics, and human behavior. The Tuskegee syphilis experiment. One of the most infamous medical conspiracies that turned out to be true is the Tuskegee syphilis study. For decades, from 1932 to 1972, the U.S. Public Health Service conducted an unethical medical study on 600 African American men in Macon County, Alabama. The men were told they were receiving free medical care for bad blood, a term used to describe various illnesses, including syphilis. However, they were never informed that they had syphilis, nor were they treated for it. Instead, researchers sought to observe the progression of the disease if left untreated. Even when penicillin became the standard treatment for syphilis in the 1940s, the men were deliberately denied access to it. The experiment was finally exposed in 1972, thanks to a whistleblower. The public outrage that followed led to significant changes in the way clinical studies are conducted, including the requirement for informed consent. In 1997, President Bill Clinton formally apologized on behalf of the U.S. government for the study's unethical practices. Operation Paperclip. Operation Paperclip was a secret post-World War II program conducted by the U.S. government in which over 1,600 German scientists, engineers, and technicians, many of whom were former Nazis, were brought to America to work on military and space technology. The program was initially shrouded in secrecy, as many of these individuals had been members of the Nazi Party and were involved in war crimes during the Holocaust. Despite this, the U.S. government saw value in their expertise and sought to exploit their knowledge in the burgeoning Cold War against the Soviet Union. Among the most notable figures brought over was Werner von Braun, a former SS officer who became a leading figure in the development of the U.S. space program, playing a key role in launching the Apollo missions that would eventually land humans on the moon. Operation Paperclip remained hidden from public view for many years, but when it was finally declassified, it confirmed what many had long suspected, that the U.S. government had knowingly employed former Nazi war criminals in its scientific and military programs. MKUltra. Project MKUltra was a clandestine CIA program aimed at developing mind control techniques and exploring the potential of psychotropic drugs, including LSD, for espionage purposes. The program began in the early 1950s and ran for approximately 2 decades. The goal was to find ways to manipulate the human mind in order to extract information from foreign spies, influence the behavior of enemies, or potentially create Manchurian candidates, individuals programmed to carry out missions without their knowledge. The experiments were often conducted without the subject's consent, and many of them suffered severe psychological trauma as a result. In some cases, the subjects were unknowingly dosed with LSD or other drugs in dangerous quantities. The CIA conducted experiments on unwitting American citizens, including prisoners, psychiatric patients, and even ordinary citizens. The full extent of MKUltra remained hidden for years until it was partially exposed by investigative journalists and government inquiries in the 1970s. Many records of the program were destroyed by the CIA in 1973, but enough evidence survived to confirm the existence of the project and its unethical practices. MKUltra is a chilling reminder of how government agencies can engage in extreme and unethical behavior under the guise of national security. The Watergate Scandal. The Watergate scandal is one of the most well-known political conspiracies in American history, and it ultimately led to the resignation of President Richard Nixon. The scandal began in 1972 when 5 men were caught breaking into the Democratic National Committee headquarters at the Watergate complex in Washington, D.C. Initially, the break-in seemed like a small-time burglary, but investigative journalists Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein uncovered a far-reaching conspiracy involving the Nixon administration. It was revealed that the break-in was part of a larger effort by Nixon's re-election campaign to sabotage political opponents through illegal means, including wiretapping, burglary, and campaign finance violations. The cover-up of the break-in involved high-ranking members of the Nixon administration, and ultimately, Nixon himself. A series of investigations and hearings exposed the extent of the conspiracy, and in 1974, faced with almost certain impeachment, Nixon resigned from the presidency. The Watergate scandal demonstrated that even the highest levels of government are not immune to corruption and criminal behavior, and it remains a powerful example of the importance of a free press in holding those in power accountable. The Iran-Contra affair. The Iran-Contra affair was a political scandal that occurred during the Reagan administration in the 1980s. It involved the secret sale of arms to Iran, a country that was under an arms embargo at the time, in exchange for the release of American hostages being held by Hezbollah, a terrorist group linked to Iran. The proceeds from the arms sales were then used to fund the Contras, a rebel group in Nicaragua that was fighting against the socialist Sandinista government. This was done despite a congressional ban on U.S. aid to the Contras. The scheme was orchestrated by officials within the Reagan administration, including members of the National Security Council and the CIA. When the affair was exposed in 1986, it led to multiple investigations and the conviction of several high-ranking officials. Although President Reagan claimed to have no knowledge of the illegal activities, the scandal damaged his presidency and raised serious questions about the conduct of U.S. foreign policy. The Iran-Contra affair is a clear example of a conspiracy within the government to circumvent the law in pursuit of political objectives, and it highlights the potential for abuse of power at the highest levels. In the end, while many conspiracy theories may seem outlandish, history has shown that some are not only plausible but entirely true. These revelations underscore the importance of questioning authority, seeking transparency, and holding powerful institutions accountable. The events described here remind us that secrecy can sometimes mask profound injustice, and uncovering the truth is often the only way to ensure that the mistakes and abuses of the past are not repeated. As society continues to evolve in an increasingly interconnected world, it is crucial to remain vigilant, not just to protect our freedoms, but to ensure that truth, justice, and integrity remain at the core of our institutions. Thanks for watching. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into fascinating conspiracies and hidden truths. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What conspiracies do you think might actually be true? And as always, stay curious and question everything. See you in the next video.